Welcome to a little tiny episode where I'm playing catch up for all of you who don't speak French. Now, in the French language links brutality video, I went into some length explaining about the various bolt-on things I've added to bring the rifle kicking and screaming into the 21st century, and I thought it would be nice to bring that information also in English. And the issue is not quite as easy as one thinks, because it was a rifle that was around, or designed before tactical was a thing, so adding non-standard equipment to the rifle is actually non-trivial. So we'll start at the front where we've got this 3-rail adapter. Now it actually wedges into place because the two surfaces of the shell, the lower shell here, are not parallel. So it slips on and wedges in the right place. So it has to be machined properly. And there's a grub screw that goes in, and there's a recess already present in the shell to accept it. So I'm not sure what it was originally for. I very much doubt it was for a rail adapter, but anyway, there's a handy recess there for the grub screw, and it's absolutely solid. And then you can mount whatever you want on it. However, with this in place, you actually can't use the bipod. I've gone around this by machining two little spacers underneath the bipod legs, so they just clear the rail. But if you actually want to mount something on the sides, you basically lose the bipod function. And indeed, if you see pictures of these being used in service, quite often they've just removed the bipod legs altogether. Now, as to the mounting an optic, that is a bigger problem because, again, this was never intended, and the top cover is essentially just it's just a top cover. It's not an upper like an upper receiver. This is essentially just protecting the front and rear sights, and it has, well, I'll show you, this is the original, and then also houses the night sights and the direct fire grenade sights. So this is all it is. It's made of a reinforced polymer, but it has some flex in it, and it just hooks on to the trunnion, so it has a fixed point for mounting, but it itself is not rigid. So this presents a problem for mounting optics when you want it to be retaining zero. So they came up with a PGM-P. So it's pièce garde-main polyvalente, so multi-use handguard. So it has the same form, also made of this reinforced plastic, and so both of them, they mount firstly with a cross pin through here, which is the rear sight base, which is also fixed to the trunnion, and the front is hooked on to this bolt, which is actually the end of the guide rail for the cocking handle. So both fixed points on the receiver and the barrel, so in that sense very, very stable, but that's no help if the entire thing is flexible. So this is where the PGM-P comes in, where they have inserted a steel frame inside the handguard, so it goes all the way from the back where the cross pin goes in, so you've got a nice solid fixing on the rear sight base. By the way, you can also continue to use the iron sights through this little tiny hole, really for emergency. Then you've got the sight base on which you can screw down an adapter plate. This is Picatinny in this place, but there are other proprietary mounts as well. And this goes on further down and also has the attachment point here. So that way you finally get a solid fix between the optic and the, let's say, rigid portion of the rifle. And as we saw in the brutality, it really did retain zero perfectly well, despite being assembled and disassembled and bashed multiple times by two users over 2 days. So it's a complicated solution, but they did it right. So there's one more accessory that fits onto the PGM-P, which I have not found yet, and that fixes onto this front portion here and then goes up in a sort of T-shape, and it gives you two further rail attachments, one on either side of the handguard, and that's where you usually see on the service guns the light and laser and so on mounted, rather than on an adapter where a foregrip would be. So there we go. I hope now that you English speakers are no longer at a disadvantage, and thank you for watching as always, and thank you for your support. Bye.